Defo and Lubie, the only show that covers food, sports, and the proper maintenance of your car. And now, a man who had the distinction of having an entire health clinic named in his honor, Mike Mayo.
I want the flim sauce with the awesome fave, with shafafa on the side.
A great, glorious mood because we are now into the almost weekend stage of the week. And what a glorious weekend it's going to be. We got the Oaks Day tomorrow out at Gulfstream Park. We're going to be there doing the show. Then Derby Day, Saturday. I don't know where everybody's going to be. I'm going to be back out at Gulfstream, I think, having a little confab powwow, including Lubie and the lovely Shirley. We're going to go back and eat some food at Christine Lee's for the big race. But we are here today. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. One meal at a time, one game at a time, one playoff series at a time. Today, Wicked Cheesesteaks, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, across from Holy Cross Hospital, and the Mike Mayo sandwiches, the pork and provolone and broccoli rabe sandwiches flying off the shelves here. Defo, they're giving them away. They are giving them away today.
That's great. Some people already came in and took advantage of your very generous offer, which, and of course, Brian, I mean, even more generous since it's his money that's flying out the door. But come in, just say the word Lunchbox, and you get a free Mike Mayo sandwich, which normally goes for like $12.99. And, it's all the rage right now with the food industry. The whole culinary world is talking about the Mayo.
It's a meal. It actually could probably be multiple meals. You know, you have half now and half later. Brian, very generous here out at Wicked Cheesesteaks, and it's at 4826 North Federal Highway, just south of Commercial Boulevard, right across from the cardiac unit at Holy Cross Hospital. But you go there, you get your clean bill of health, and then you come here and eat guilt-free.
I wouldn't even bother checking in first. I mean, it's kind of like taking your weight before you go to some restaurant like Runway 84, and you're going to weigh yourself. No, you're not going to weigh yourself before you go. This is some smoking joint, though, man. I mean, what Brian puts out of here in a relatively small place is just amazing, and the variety is fantastic. I always look forward to coming here for these shows from Wicked Cheesesteaks.
Yeah, no, and look, I don't want to just be self-promoting and just talk about how about this? The T-shirts made.
Well, that's great, and Ruby's got it on the right way. You're wearing it backwards.
Well, I'm a little mixed up today. I'm wearing
not
it
a T-shirt guy, so I just left it off here
because I wanted to show the people what's on the back of the shirt, and I don't even know. I guess they're available for purchase, but the Wicked Cheesesteaks here, they have a specialty shirt says "Home of the Mike Mayo," which it tells you that it's the pork and broccoli rabe sandwich with also a little bit of provolone cheese. And again, he was giving them away. I guess 3 people were here before he even opened the doors today. They were,
schleppers,
the South Florida.
Yeah.
And I said,
they probably complained. They'll be complaining on Let's Eat South Florida.
And I said to him, so these people, they came in, they claimed their sandwich. They said the magic word Lunchbox. I said, did they get a drink and maybe some sides?
Nothing?
No, nothing.
Oh. See, those people will be mad. You'll see a post tomorrow on Let's Eat South Florida if you let it slip under the cracks there, or maybe Gretchen lets it go by accident. But they'll be complaining that the store wasn't open when they got here.
It was locked, and that we had to wait in the hot sun for 5 minutes before getting our free sandwich.
And the manager came and he said, "We're not open yet." How rude can you be?
And I'm going to say, how much did you pay for that sandwich? And they are now laying fallacy to the claim that there's no such thing as a free lunch. We're living proof of that almost every day, but we work hard for our food. And but Brian, what a magnanimous gesture on his part. And again, I think 3 or 4 have been claimed. So, if you want to come in and get one of those Mike Mayos and try it.
Lunchbox.
Just say the word. It rhymes with crunch stocks or
that doesn't help at all.
Hunch
box.
Lunchbox because you're kind of scrunched in.
But and you know what? I would urge you to use a little, self-awareness and maybe pay it forward. He's giving you something. How about just buy a kind of side of French fries or get a nice it's a whole dessert
No
case
purchase
here.
required, but the pizza also would be, and wings.
Yeah.
I mean,
Wings with a
Throw a
nice
little
sandwich.
tip in the tip jar for the workers.
How
here.
about the Lubie, the new Lubie sandwich?
Get one. Oh yeah, the
He's
Lubie
working
element.
on it.
He's
working
going to
on the
bestow us
Lubie.
with that, and he's what they're known for here. Besides all the great cheesesteaks, because his wife Sonata is from the Philly area. Brian, he does great lobster rolls, and also we're going to have some lobster mac and cheese today because he's a maniac. He was originally from Maine before settling here in South Florida. But what he loves is root beers from around the country, around the world.
Oh, look at this!
What do we got?
He's got
Look
the
at
Mayo.
this!
Yeah, wow.
Not only
There's that Mayo.
so
It's
Brian
been
is giving
improved
these
also
away,
since its origins.
and I don't know what's happening. There we
I'm
go.
doing-
Serge is he's a famous, world famous waiter, server from veteran around town, long time. Bistro Mezzaluna, Valentino's,
How
my
was
friend
the tip
Giovanni.
on the Last Supper? Did they tip well? I mean, they're going out the door. Yeah.
Oh man, he got a haircut and a shave. So he was. Serge is now serving again at our friend Joey's at Cafe
it's amazing.
Seville,
Yeah, yeah.
and look what we got. I think he's going to be bringing Joey a Mike Mayo sandwich. So for a change, Joey can be, he can give me a critique and let me know what he thinks of what I say should be the signature sandwich of Philadelphia, because cheesesteak. Oh yeah, he's got to go get it to him nice and tell Joey to text me a good Derby tip,
Yes,
a
we
good
need
Derby
Joey's
winner.
tip.
I'm hearing things. I wish we could get Joey Esposito from Cafe
He never
Seville
wants to come on
the show,
Yeah,
because
he never wants to come on.
he's a natural showman. He would be gregarious and giving out tips left and right, and he's also very psyched for this weekend. So we're here. We're giving away the Mayo sandwich, but Brian also reported some, I guess, sobering news for Jeff Defo DeForest, because we had this head-to-head sandwich battle, but I think you
you made it into a battle. It was never a battle.
you need a new
battle.
publicist. You need to hire
I'm
what's
not
her
taking
name?
this the same way
Sarah
you are.
Huckabee
Yeah.
to come in and start.
Only you would take an honor and turn it into a disgrace.
Exactly,
I mean, I don't
exactly.
know. You're riding some kind of a high now with these insurance checks and everything, but there was never a competition in this thing.
I don't know the way he positioned it on the menu. He has the Mike Mayo and then the Defo
You were upset
sandwich.
that
and-
when it first came on the menu.
well, you were
that
kicking my ass.
We were outselling you, but
By
it
a
was
wide
never
margin.
a thing that I was involved.
And then I put my
Yeah.
finger on the scale. I started
Exactly.
writing about it on the Let's Eat group. Next thing you
Yeah.
know, Brian reports that last weekend, and this is without giving them away. This is with actually people coming in and spending cash money or the finest plastic that banks can provide.
Yeah.
47
Just on
Mike
Friday
Mayo
alone.
sandwiches were actually purchased and consumed
On Friday
and
alone.
hopefully enjoyed by the fine public out there that understands that the pork with broccoli rabe and provolone is the true connoisseur's sandwich of Philadelphia. Never mind these cheesesteaks, which he does a pretty good job.
He
with
does a
them, too.
great
Yeah.
cheesesteak, by the way.
Never mind that's the main
Yeah, that's
emphasis
the
of his
name of
business here is the cheesesteak. Let's condemn the sandwich because I have my own sandwich that nobody ever heard of before except Brian, and he decided to make one. And it turns out it is very good, but
Not
He did-
condemning the sandwich.
he did make improvements to it. I mean,
It's a
from
nice
the
sandwich.
original.
He
So
does.
Yeah, it's a nice sandwich.
I had the new version the last time we were here, and I think it went up exponentially in terms of flavor and consumption quality. It was absolutely great. So
Well, what Brian
nothing wrong
does
with it,
is
but it doesn't eclipse the cheesesteak. It's two different sandwiches.
what Brian does with the cheesesteak is, besides having your basic cheesesteak, and he gives you the choice of whether you want it with the cheese whiz, which some people from Philadelphia say is the only proper original way to eat it, and then or you could have in the provolone cheese or that Cooper white American cheese, that's the cheese that's used in the Defo sandwich.
Yeah, I like
the
that.
Defo sandwich is nice because it has the
That
grilled
thing's good.
onions.
No, it really is.
And it's a really good sandwich.
Yeah.
I mean, if it wasn't for me standing in the way of, we're the two combatants, I would wholeheartedly recommend, and you should get both and then eat half and half and then vote on it.
Well, the thing working against a Defo is it's not a full cheesesteak. It's actually more of
It's not on a hoagie
It's a
roll
sandwich.
or grinder roll.
which
It's
I like.
Oh, this is your
But
thing
again,
right
if you're
here,
coming
man.
to Brian's
Lobster.
Wicked
There we go.
Cheesesteaks, you probably want a
Good mac
freaking
and cheese
full
because
cheesesteak.
Brian, you're out of your mind.
I
So
don't
that's the
have enough carbs in my life, so I requested the lobster mac and cheese. And it's
I
got
think
that
you should
nice
eat the whole
crunch on
thing.
top. Thank you, Brian.
Just as an appetizer.
You're the man.
Yeah.
You are the man, and we love coming here to Wicked Cheesesteaks.
He doesn't mess mess around when it comes to lobster either. I mean, you're thinking cheesesteaks. Why would they have Maine lobster here? But the lobster roll still is. I mean, never mind the mayo. That's one of the real distinguished sandwiches.
And let me tell you
get
something. Yeah, let me tell you something about the lobsters here. The lobster roll, the lobster mac and cheese. He's not taking shortcuts. He passes the gambling gourmet standards, and I do have, I'm a former award-winning critic, and I still not just going to let anybody get that Lunchbox seal of approval. He does things the right way here, and that means he steams off whole live Maine lobsters every morning, and then he has he cracks the shells and removes the meat, and he uses it in his lobster rolls. He uses it in his lobster mac and cheese, and so that's the right way. You see some of these lobster trucks that are rolling around. They all they do is they get this cryovac bag and then they open it up and they steam it off, and that's not the way you want your lobster. You want them live, fresh steamed, and that you can tell the difference. They steam.
He's got a guy back there in scuba gear that just came out of the ocean with these lobsters too. I mean, they're holding them up there.
Swam all the way down the coast from Maine and Nova Scotia.
You don't remember the sign? I think the place was called the Rosewood Grill in Las Vegas, where they had the waiter, and it was a classic sign. It was on every bus stop, and they had a fairly good-looking Italian waiter, and he was holding two giant lobsters while wearing a tuxedo.
The 10-pound blue lobster.
They were huge, and I'll never forget that sign. And it's almost like that here. I mean, you're looking at just pure, unadulterated Maine lobster, no filler, no
Can I
garbage.
give you and serve you some of this lobster mac and cheese?
I'll take a little piece here,
because you know me, I'm all about manners and making sure that everybody gets their fair share.
I like the way that you do this because you'll take two little pieces out and then eat the rest.
And I'll just go right Lubie, may I serve you?
This looks great, man. I'm going to try it.
So, man, we are just having ourselves a good old time here. And again,
it doesn't take us long to get involved in the food here either.
I'm sorry that the Defo sandwich is now languishing behind like Silky Sullivan, and maybe he'll be a deep closer.
It's a secret gem, though. See,
you're not going to think to get that sandwich. You're going to get a cheesesteak. I just like it because I'm not a huge eater.
Right.
So when I get a whole cheesesteak, it's a lot for me. So that
let me describe it.
It's a little bit more of a good size for someone like me, my wife. We're not big eaters.
I didn't fully describe it. The Defo sandwich is served on a round Kaiser roll,
so it's not as much food.
Not as voluminous as that full-on, cheesesteak that's served.
This is great, by the way.
I just love all the lobster he puts in. Like when you get lobster mac and cheese, it's usually mac and cheese and then like a hint of lobster. This is a lobster mac and cheese. Like you can just see like look, these are like chunks of lobster in mac and cheese, and again, mac and cheese on his of itself is a really good mac and cheese.
This is good.
And it gives you a lot of lobster. Like you could share this as a dish for two people and you'd be good.
I'm going to get a little more of the creamy, cheesy sauce here because my cholesterol's not high enough. Go for it there, Defo. All right, let's get to today's agenda, which I wanted to start off with. Well, first of all, thanks to Shayna Weisoff, who's she's known around in the Boca and Delray areas as one of the food influencers up there. She has a very popular blog and Instagram accounts, but she's starting her own blog podcast, and she was nice enough to invite me to be her inaugural guest for some reason.
It's quite a distinction, man. I mean, Prince Charles wasn't available?
He's got his coronation coming up. We'll discuss that in a moment. But Shayna, again, she's starting this new podcast. I think it's going to be hitting the podcast waves next Tuesday, and it's called Take a Bite Out of South Florida. And we sat down and had a lovely chat, but it was in this really funky place up in Delray. It's become like this new warehouse district that's also sprouting all these creative spaces. And this was like a collaborative, one of those cooperative workspace places that is so weird. It was like you go down 3 different alleyways and all you're doing is passing like tire shops and auto body shops, and it's like all this like kind of places, blue collar, and then you turn the corner and you go in at the end of one of these warehouses is this like 21st century, like you thought you just stepped into Silicon Valley, and all this beautiful equipment, and it's run by a former veteran, a former Marine, and he wanted to bring together a spot where people could come together And some people just rent space by the day and do some graphic design, but it was really cool in there. They had this fancy coffee machine. He said, what kind of coffee do you want? You could get the Americano or the cappuccino. And then they have this studio that puts our setup to shame, where they have all these, high-tech equipment and microphones and lights and her big billboard, nice designed ad. And I was like, wow, some people just, they get it done. And we had a lovely time. And then she asked me the question that got me really going. That was I was happy to
answer. Are you single?
No, she's with somebody. She's 35, and you say that would be an appropriate age using your.
That's right on the Mendoza line by your age and the formula
again. That would be
take your age, which is what 56 now. Cut it in half, so that's 28.
Yep.
Add 7 years, that's the lowest number of a woman that you should be dating.
Okay.
I mean, without looking like some kind of weirdo freak,
without looking like Woody Allen.
But I mean, it fits the category because. A woman at 35 can relate to you at 56.
But she's
any younger than that,
yeah, it's hard.
maybe not. Do you need a 25-year-old in your life right now?
This is
I
a
mean,
lot.
your daughter's almost 25, so I mean that would be a mistake to go in that direction.
So
35 be the cutoff, and then no age limit on the top end. If you want to date an 85-year-old woman, that's up to you.
Well, okay.
It's entirely up to you, Mayo.
The point being,
if you want to do that,
you would find the 35 an appropriate
35
age
would be the number, yeah.
Shayna
that's a good
is
number.
spoken for. She's been together in a long-term relationship, so we don't, we're not going to be
It's not
going
in that vein, but
there.
you enjoyed.
But I enjoyed
conversation.
her discussion because she's into food, and we. One of the questions she asked was, "What is your pet peeve when you're in a restaurant? What are some of your restaurant pet peeves?"
Oh, good. Oh, no.
And I said, "Hey, I got a whole Facebook group."
Did she tape a third show? At that point? No.
Third and fourth. We ended up doing.
What
two.
is your big problem with restaurants?
Well, no, I just said I am a little bit dismayed by the whole parking meter timestamp. You only get certain number of minutes at a restaurant, but I also, in the context of certain places that are on the weekend, you don't want to camp out. We discussed this yesterday, but I don't like having that feeling of being rushed, especially if it's during the week or But that actually, my number one pet peeve was all these freaking places now where you go in and they have that AstroTurf on the wall with that neon cursive of like "you're here" or
the Catherine has that.
"let's
by the
eat."
way.
Oh, do they?
Yes,
Shit.
they do.
Oh.
Catherine does have. Catherine does have.
It's
that.
all these Instagram, these walls. I call them the Insta walls,
Yes, that's
right?
what
Where
they are.
everybody shows up and they
It's like a red carpet
they
moment. thing,
take a selfie and it has whatever catchphrase the rrestaurant has,
Mhm.
but it's on this like usually AstroTurf, which is up stapled to the wall with
Yep.
the neon pink,
Yep.
cursive writing. What does the one say at the Catherine?
I think it says the Catherine. I think
oh,
they
if it
have
just
one
says
for
the
their
Catherine,
restaurant.
that's
Yeah.
fine.
Oh no, theirs isn't an Instagram wall. No one goes over there for pictures.
Okay,
I'm
then
saying they
don't
have that
misdescribe.
there.
I'm talking about the ones that are specifically
Yeah.
designed. Like there's places up in Delaware. I won't name names. Okay, like Throw Social and the Hampton Social is a new place that opened, and it's like that's what and it just has all these whatever catchphrases and
Yeah.
people take the. I don't know why that drives me nuts. It's probably typical Mayo, right? I shouldn't be bothered by these
like
things.
something that would matter to nobody else. But you're already
And
bummed
she
out
asks you
that you
what
walked
bothers
into a
you.
place and it had this condition.
I guess because
How about a Mike Mayo review on the wall? When you see that, now I consider that a sign of class and distinction.
That's
which
my
is weird,
favorite.
considering the way we behave on the show. But and especially you. But yeah, that's a good thing. I don't know what really bothers you. Being treated rudely would be the only thing. I mean, where it seems like you come into a place, whether you have a reservation or not, and the immediate greeting is somewhat of a stage of indifference, where it's like, okay, yeah, take a seat over there.
right. Well, no,
you want to be greeted warmly.
This is why I love places like Tropical Acres and Cafe Seville, because
look at
there
that, man.
you get we got Brian
I
is
think this is
making
his
new
new
creations.
sandwich.
This one,
That's on rye bread too.
this is a trial run of what he's calling
So
the
it's like I
Dagwood
guess
sandwich.
It's
Where
like oh wow, they have
and
4 pieces of bread.
anybody who knows the comic strip Dagwood knew that he used to pile high, like he'd go in the fridge and just take every cold cut, every piece of cheese,
what
every
this
piece
is.
of bread, just stack it higher and higher. And this is what Brian has now
That's a
created
good-looking
for us.
sandwich, yeah.
And I guess it's going to be the next Mike Mayo challenge is whether I could fit my
You're gonna
mouth
have to try that
around
right
one
here
of
on the
these.
show.
I was gonna cut it, but I'd rather you just take a half of one.
And we got to break it
Let
down.
him-
It's ham and turkey.
He's
and
gonna
Swiss
cut it.
and-
Let him cut it.
Homemade
Mayo should
coleslaw.
take
Ham,
half.
turkey,
and
homemade
cut the other one in half.
coleslaw,
That's
and
all right.
some
He's
kind of a dressing.
He's gonna cut one into quarters, and I'll stuff the other half right in my face later in the show.
Going in for this.
No, when you're talking about old
Defo's
school
doing
places
mayo.
where they greet
him
you,
up.
they don't have this. This is another one of my, and we can make a whole show on this. The pet peeves
We've done them.
where you go in and these hostesses or some of the managers, all they have now is their little iPads.
Yeah, and they never
where
look
they
up
have
at
their
you.
seating diagrams, and they're just looking at that, and
Yeah.
they never look
They
you
never
in the
look
eye.
at you at all.
They never greet you and say, "How are you today?" Instead, they're looking at like, "Oh, should I put them at table 29 or 23? Did I
Yep.
balance the tables between all the waitresses? How
Yep.
come the little thing on the side isn't telling me what the optimum seating arrangement is?" And they're all looking at that, and they lose sight of the customer, the guest,
Nice,
right in front of
simple
them.
hello. I mean, you come into Cafe Seville, for example. We just saw Serge there, who's working Monday through Thursday, and I think he did serve me the last time I was in there. Right away, you feel welcome. Actually, you feel like that they're especially happy to see you. And it's one of those places that if you're a repeat customer, they always remember, who you are. And
Oh, we got some Dagwoods
it's
coming.
there you go. That's going to be tough for you, Mike. I really believe that.
There's no mountain too high, no
Yeah.
challenge too great.
But you go into, for example, I was in La Perla a couple of nights ago. Very
Love
well
Manuela
regarded.
and Lino.
And when you walk in, it's like, hey, it's like you walked into a place in Italy. They can't wait to have you sit down
And that's the thing.
and they
Yeah.
make you feel good. But when you walk into some places and they really don't, they go, you got a reservation?
Yeah.
That would
they're
be
just
my.
snapping at you, and
yeah,
we
that
love
would be
the
my
gracious old world, old
Yeah.
school
Yes, yes.
hospitality.
Yeah.
And that's one of my other pet peeves is after you're done, and you've hopefully tipped well and had a nice meal, and you go and you walk out the door, and like nobody's looking at you, nobody says
Yeah.
thanks for
Yeah,
coming.
they don't say bye. Have a
or
good
see
night.
you, yeah, have a good night.
Yep.
Hope to see you again soon. Well, you don't get that again. It's all about feeling acknowledged, really, and whether it's on the way in or the way out.
Look at this sandwich. There's
you
literally
just
4
want-
This
pieces
is
of
the
bread.
Dagwood, ladies
Hello
and gentlemen.
and a
Here we
goodbye.
go.
There's
Now,
4 pieces
I
of bread
always
on this
feel
sandwich.
acknowledged here at Wicked Cheesesteaks because
There's
not
4
only
pieces
have
of
they
bread.
acknowledged me with my own sandwich, and now he's
They have
making
lavished
shirts.
you with all kinds of,
Now he
good
has created
praise.
like
Yeah.
what is something. Look at this. It's got
There's 4
slathered-
pieces of
Let me-
bread.
That's
Can I describe this in
Here
a
we
way?
go, Brian.
First of all, I got to show it closer because it miniaturizes when I back up from the camera. This has, ham, turkey, Swiss cheese, coleslaw, and rush slathered.
That
with
looks
Russian
Yes,
dressing.
that
yes,
looks
yes.
wicked. Yeah, it
I
really does.
think, what are
Appropriate.
the odds right now, odds maker, on me making a
I'm
mess
gonna,
of
I'm gonna get a bib
May
because you're
face.
gonna spray that thing. all
and
over.
or this
Give me
shirt?
that other plate, Louis. I want to protect myself.
And how
here.
much do you think I could stuff in my mouth?
I think you
and
get the whole
put
thing in
my-
your mouth for sure. I've seen you eat.
All right,
You're like
Go
Andy
ahead,
says, you're drawing
we go.
inches
Loosen
like
up,
a
Mayo.
snake.
you get ready in a bullpen. Here we go. Coming into the game, number 99, Mike Mayo.
Oh my
Mayo.
God, are you gonna finish the whole? Look at this.
Oh my God, look at this. It's
Oh
all
my
over.
God. Man.
Mustang finds his show disgusting, by the way.
Who doesn't? Is there,
yeah.
If you don't find this show disgusting, then something's wrong with you.
Okay, give him a give him a
Here,
napkin.
he's dripping. I know. All right. All right.
We
here,
need a cut
here,
man
here,
with Mayo
here.
in here. I mean, it's
Just cover your,
ridiculous.
your face. You can
If-
see it.
If
Look
Shayna saw
forward. You
this,
can see how horrendous you look.
I think she might spike both
The
of those
customers here are
episodes.
getting grossed out. You're going to cost this guy business. You keep doing this, Mayo. Come on. What is that?
Oh my God, you're
Oh
the
my
best.
God. How is it, by the way?
There's no one
Any
like
good?
Mayo.
Fantastic. I love it.
Oh,
I
yeah?
love the
Okay.
Oh
Russian
no, it's a
dressing.
perfect sandwich.
The
But you're
Swiss,
not
the
a Mayo
coleslaw.
guy, so what kind of sauce is on that thing?
No,
It's
it's
Russian.
Russian dressing.
Thousand Island
Oh,
Russian.
yeah, okay.
And there's some mayo. There is some mayo as well.
When I grew up in delis in Brooklyn, the turkey with Russian dressing and coleslaw was a staple,
Yeah.
and I loved it. I love this. This is a
No, I'm
sloppy
good, I'm good, I'm
sandwich.
good.
This is not for the faint of heart. This is not for people who eat daintily, like the way Lubie was spreading the cream cheese on his bagel yesterday. It was so dainty.
Oh, that was weak, yeah.
and
Why didn't you just get a paintbrush and
He was-
paint some white paint
I
on
didn't
it?
know he was such a dainty. He's putting little things, the nice little chopped tomatoes yesterday. It was great, by the way, yesterday.
Yeah.
That lox, I was kind of snacking on it all day and night. But man, this is a fun sandwich. And yeah, I think food is best enjoyed like a lot of things in life, sloppily and like get down in it. And if that offends you, this is not the show for you.
That would be a great item to start out dining while driving with, because that would not be an easy one. That's for
Got a
sure.
little schmutz. I'll
Yeah.
probably need some more napkins. I see some paper towels. Not now. You don't go anywhere. Don't strain anything there, Defo. Just after you've gotten off
Right
the
here.
DL.
I forget
You
we
got it.
need those. I move them
All
every
right.
time, and we actually sort of need them.
Anyway, the things that I could complain about in restaurants can go on and on. But let's.
So, what were the big ones? I mean, what are the big ones besides that? I mean,
that's.
I don't even know that that's a great category to bring in because it's just like there's so many complaints.
No, she stayed positive. She was asking me for my favorite meals and some of my best experiences and my favorite restaurants, and but she knew it's me, and she had to bring it around to the negative place at some point.
Yeah.
Ooh, that dagwood just came up in a good way. Hey, let's talk about Delaware chicken and seafood farm.
Yeah,
it's
you need a break here.
It is. I do need a break.
Yeah.
I might need a cup, man. I might need a towel. I might need to finish the rest of
think
the
you should
sandwich
towel.
on the break.
Thank God we're here at Holy Cross. You're right. I mean, it's very appropriate.
Devo isn't wrong.
You
Like,
need medical attention after this.
After you eat food, it doesn't look like when an adult normally eats food.
No,
Like,
this is.
there always is a little bit left, and it's always a disaster.
Yeah.
Well, this is. I suffer from my art, and sometimes Jackson
suffer
Pollock, as
from my
Jackson
art.
Pollock would say, sometimes the art isn't pretty. But you know what is pretty? When you go into Delaware Chicken Farm and Seafood Market, those display cases, no matter which side of the store you're going to, whether it's the fresh fish laid out there, whole fish fillets cut beautifully, the shrimp, the clams. Now they have some of the blue crabs in. Sometimes they bring in crawfish and they steam those off. All these things, along with the meat side, where you got that beautiful Braveheart beef, the way the ribeyes and the sirloins are trimmed, and they look gorgeous and just ready to throw it on the grill. They have the sausages, the in-house, all the ducks and the chicken, the poultry. I could go on and on because everything they have there is exquisite and will make for a beautiful barbecue, cookout, or just home-cooked meal. You want to go in there. It's at 4191 North State Road 7 in Hollywood, just below Sterling Road, just across from the old Seminole Classic Casino, where Defo might have been a couple of times. I've been there a couple of times. And then you go below and what is that big chicken across the street? The big chicken is calling your name to get the freshest poultry, meat, beef, seafood. Go in there. It's open 7 days a week. Go on to DelawareChicken.com to check out all the weekly specials and the daily offerings. And again, with Mother's Day coming up, if you don't want to go out and have to deal with all those crowds in the restaurants, just get a whole bunch of stuff. Prepare a feast at home for mom. Say I love you with home cooking that's not cooked or cleaned by her. Delaware Chicken and Seafood is the place to get stock up in all those provisions for Mother's Day and all summer long. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you.
All right, I resolved one of my pet peeves with Chinese restaurants. We can get into that a little bit when we return to Wicked Cheesesteaks here on Mike Mayo's Lunchbox in a moment.
Beach Cafe. It's a South Florida landmark, and it's one happy restaurant right on the water. Tables literally on the beach. A place where you could dip your toes in the sand, kick back, relax with island vibes, tropical drinks, and live music daily. You know it. It's at One Commercial Boulevard in Lauderdale by the Sea. And of course, it has Chef Chris Nealon and his famed Caribbean Floridian cuisine. A huge menu with something for everyone. Seafood, raw bar, conch fritters, burgers, sandwiches, salads, deli specials, and of course, that famous Bimini bread. They've got a great staff that'll take great care of you. There's something to celebrate every day. Open 7 days until late. Parking available on site. Happy hour weekdays 4 to 7 p.m. Go check out more at ArubaBeachCafe.com. Better yet, go in there yourself at Aruba Beach Cafe. Good food, drinks, friends, and laughter are always the catch of the day. When people come to me and say, Mike, where should I go out to eat? I got guests coming from out of town. Where should we go? Cafe Seville. That's the answer. 2768 East Oakland Park Boulevard. It's a Fort Lauderdale perennial, serving the finest in Spanish and continental cuisine in a cozy, friendly, comfortable setting. Joey Esposito and Sally, his better half, they've been running the place for a long time. It's been open since the 1980s. They got great Spanish classics like paella, shrimp with garlic sauce, and all kinds of great seafood dishes. The stuffed veal chop, that's my favorite. Go to Cafe Seville. It's open every day but Sunday at 5 p.m. for dinner. Tell them that the Lunchbox Mayo and Defo sent you. Do you like burgers? Do you like wings? Do you like late night food and sports on big screen TVs and cold beer and friendly vibe and great people? Then you want to check out Shenanigans, 1300 South Federal Highway in Dania Beach. Go to Shenanigans, you get yourself all the good stuff, the fresh fish every day, the black and grilled wings, and of course, the kitchens are open late. Go there, tell them that the Lunchbox Mayo and Defo sent you. Looking for a great place for steaks, seafood, and more? Go to Tropical Acres Steakhouse and Butcher Shop. It's at 2500 Griffin Road in Dania, just west of I-95 in the airport. They've been there a long time, since 1949. That means they're doing something right. You'll get old school hospitality from the Studiali family, along with great value, tremendous service. Of course, you could also go into the bar for happy hour every day, 4 to 6. The early bird special runs from 4:30 to 5:30, and they have great value all night long. Also, a butcher shop that's open every day from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. except Sunday. The dining room is open every day at 4:30 except Sunday. Go to Tropical Acres. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. Hey, it's Mike Mayo. When the Brooklyn boy in me wants a good bagel with Nova or some matzo ball soup, homemade knishes, or a great deli pastrami sandwich on rye, you know where I go? Grandpa's Cafe in Dania Beach. It's been around a long time, an institution, but a little over a year ago, a pair of New Yorkers came in, bought it, and refurbished the place. It's beautiful, and they are now serving great breakfast, brunch, lunch. They've got the omelets. They've got eggs Benedict. They've got all kinds of great baked goods like rugelach. Grandpa's is just off Federal Highway on Southwest 1st Street in Dania Beach. It's open 7 days. Go in there, tell them that the Lunchbox sent you. When I'm looking for some wicked good food for a wicked good lunch, there's only one place to go. That's Wicked Cheesesteaks in Fort Lauderdale. It's at 4824 North Federal Highway, just south of Commercial Boulevard and across from Holy Cross Hospital. My friend Brian there, he will hook you up with some really tasty treats. They've got cheesesteaks, just like the best you can find in Philly, along with lobster rolls, because that's where he's from, Maine originally, and they have wings and pizza and everything you want to have a really good time. Wicked Cheesesteaks, they're open every day but Tuesday. Go in there on a Wednesday. They got buy one, get one on cheesesteaks from 5 to 8 p.m. Check them out online, wickedcheesesteaks.com. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you.
We're back here on the Lunchbox. Mike Mayo, Jeff Defo the Forest, Lubie behind the control board. And I am chowing down. I apologize to anybody who was witnessing that last segment. It obviously got a little ugly. And you know what? I'm sorry. I'm going in for more. It's the Dagwood sandwich.
Oh, wait, I got to use my protection plate here. Everything's flying all over the place. My God. You got it on your ear.
It's so funny when I'm called dainty.
Yeah.
That's how you know the way Mayo eats.
General rule of thumb, though, Lubie,
You
especially
spreading
since
that cream cheese like you were.
Yeah, I don't want to use too much cream cheese. It's not great. I love their cream cheese, but it doesn't love me. So I want a nice amount, but I don't want to
got some lactose
be at the
issues?
hospital in the next 20 years.
we're
doing a lot of great eating.
Hang on, never get food on the equipment.
And I appreciate our eating.
Bad thing, yeah.
But you
That
have to stem the
Dagwood
tide a bit.
sandwich,
I
by the way,
I thought it was really good.
I thought it was good. It's not on the menu here. Still playing around with it, but you know,
He's futzing with it, as we say.
it's got a little bit of everything, but the way it all melds together and smushes into my face,
and he
I
uses
love
the
it.
You know who'd be
sweet
great eating
coleslaw.
that sandwich? Never mind you. Harvey Fialkov.
Oh, Jesus.
He's one of those
he's a
spray
slob.
eaters, where everything, and then he always wants to talk while he's eating.
Oh.
And, which you have to do a certain amount of that on this show, but
I only do it on the show.
But this would go flying. I mean, he would be scary with this sandwich. I'm sure everybody knows a guy like that. Lubie used to be that guy, but he's refined now. I mean, greatly refined from where
Didn't
he was.
realize I've changed, but yes,
Very
looking at
good.
Mayo.
All right, so here's the game, man.
So-
My pet peeve was about being charged an upcharge 50 cents, as marginal as it is, for house mustard at a Chinese restaurant.
When you do takeout,
This
is at your takeout place.
Wait, Christina
Takeout.
Juan explained why, because there was
So
a reason.
anyway, here's the deal. I found a way to beat the system, which I kind of was aware of, but I hoped I wouldn't have to resort to this. But so I always want to make sure that they don't forget this, because it makes the whole thing. If I'm ordering like a thing of chicken fried rice, I need that house mustard, and so I usually specify and make sure you put some house mustard in it.
Yeah.
Now
Is this
that's
pickup?
when
Are
they
they
whack you.
delivering it, or is it
No,
pickup?
I'm picking it up.
Okay.
All right. And so anyway, then you'll see they charge you an extra 50 cents for the mustard. It's like, that's absurd. So now, instead of asking for it when I call in the order, I open the bag and I ask the guy at the counter,
That's what you do.
hey,
That's
how
the
about
move.
some house mustard? I've already paid, and it's too late for him to whack me for
Did
the
you
50.
tip when you already paid?
Oh, yeah. No, I don't mind
After
giving
you
them the
get
money.
there
Yeah.
and you tip, they'll generally throw it in for free because, hey, you've already thrown in a buck or two into the kitty,
Yeah.
so it kind of pays for itself. And that you finally figured it out, number one. But number two, I would say maybe it's time to find a better class of Chinese takeaway for you, because my local,
They don't do that.
They would never think of it.
They wouldn't do that. But again, I never ask when I first order.
No?
I just when I go in, they know me by now. I've been
yeah,
going
but
in
you're
there
Mike
20
Mayo.
years.
That's a whole different thing.
And
You
they
got
go,
your own shirt.
When I get in there, and they say they don't even ask, do you want chopsticks? They say how many pairs of chopsticks,
Yeah.
and then they go, and hot chili oil and the house mustard. I said absolutely, and then I tip generously because they're my locals.
Well, what are you leaving if you pick up a fried rice for $10? How much you leaving a guy? $2?
$10? Yeah, I give him
you're
$2.
picking it up.
But it usually works out that my order is like a soup and a lo mein, and it's in the 15s and change range, and I just give them the 20 and just keep the 20.
Good for you.
That's
All right,
it.
all right,
Yeah.
that's cool.
That's for a pickup.
That's
you guys
how
put
I
me to
roll.
shame.
Hey, let's get into something else because you actually brought up a good food topic on your own
It's a
personal
massive topic.
Facebook
it really is, yeah.
page. And
I didn't want to run it
good
by
here, too.
Let's Eat South
Something smells
Florida.
great. Yeah,
Because I didn't want to be subjected to the ridicule, for having my own list and
It
leaving out
sounds like a
certain movie.
Sarni question,
Yeah,
but
right.
go ahead. What was your topic? Du jour?
I just had listed. I was thinking of scenes in movies that involve food or any kind of dining or whatever, anything with a food theme to it. Because I was thinking about the movie Cool Hand Luke,
Right.
when Newman ate like 50 eggs on a challenge, 50
That's something
hard-boiled
that
eggs.
I would not want to be in the same room as me.
But
after
that
50
scene
eggs.
still has impact. Like just the minute I mention it, you can still think about
Oh, yeah.
how
It's a
horrifying the
reaction.
concept
Yeah,
is.
it's a visceral reaction.
There are
So I was thinking
classic-
about the best scenes involving food in movies. It could be anything. It doesn't have to be like people sitting down and eating, but just involving food in general, where it's tied in.
What did people chime in with? I imagine the
they
slicing
liked
the
that.
garlic
Well,
and Goodfellas.
I mentioned all
the
five,
Pearl
and then
Sorvino.
I actually left that out, but that was a classic. Sorvino slicing
I
the
just love
garlic.
that scene.
and Goodfellas
It's so
in
fine in the
jail.
middle of a freaking prison.
A million different scenes in The Godfather involving food, where certain life lessons were being imparted as they were saying, "Well, you have to know how to make mama's gravy," and then the guy puts a bullet in the guy's head.
Oh, and then there's the leave the guns and take the cannoli.
That was a classic,
Classic. The bakery.
The Rocky movie, you still
they're drinking
remember
the
it where
eggs.
he cracks the raw eggs and then puts them in a jug, a little
protein
plastic.
shake.
It was
yeah.
one of those plastic cups you only get at like Flanagan's or something, like a 60-ounce cup, and then he gargles them down. And the food fight in Animal House, I think, is the all-time classic.
That's pretty classic. Well, I've got Lubie. I'll let you
I'm
go
trying
first.
to think. You go. I'm trying to
Okay,
think.
well, obviously Goodfellas has a number of them.
Yeah.
Besides Paul Sorvino in jail in the joint slicing the gut, you got to slice it thin so it liquefies in the pan.
that was a great scene.
That's
Yeah,
a great
yeah.
scene involving food. Also later in the movie, at the very end, where Ray Liotta and you got to stir the sauce, and he's asking his little brother who's handicapped in the wheelchair. You stirring the sauce? Yeah, I'm stirring the sauce. So that's that. One of my favorite food scenes ever. Now, there's movies built around food, like Babette's Feast, that has some wonderful food scenes. I think there was something chocolate, a French movie that had a lot of.
I forgot
Chocolat.
Last Tango in Paris. The butter scene.
Let's get in there. That was rated X.
Well, the one.
yeah.
What's the one with the food?
Did it involve any kind of?
I don't think they were consuming
butter
the butter.
and Crisco. It was like
Yeah.
something that you'd see out of some of the.
But
guy-
it was
clubs in
food
New
in a
York
movie,
and
so it
stuff.
qualifies.
Yeah.
The
Well,
guy
and
that
of
was
course,
in
Night
Swingers.
Shift with Vince
Yeah,
Night
you
Shift,
with the
you
mustard
were
on
Night
the
Shift.
wall.
That
with
is
the
a great
sandwich.
scene. That is a
Oh,
great
and I
scene.
forgot Jack
Yeah.
Nicholson. I forgot, was it 5 Easy Pete where the French fries and he ordered the French fries and he didn't want.
Was that Cuckoo's Nest? What
Yeah.
movie are you talking about?
Oh, Casino when they spit in the sandwich. And the guy
Yeah.
goes, "There's your sandwich."
Yeah, that's one. All right, but the other one I'm thinking of, which is a classic scene. Well, Big Night was a movie Stanley Tucci where he was recreating this magical dish, which is like a baked pasta with all this meat stuffed into it. But Big Night is a great movie for foodies and people. It revolves around food. But a great scene in a movie, Diner. Do you remember
Diner when they're at the
Diner, yeah.
diner? It's always
when
great.
they're at the diner? Besides all the the kibitzing and the talking back and forth, when Earl, who's a rather hefty gentleman, basically had a challenge, a bet involving whether he could eat the entire left side of the menu. And they didn't realize what he was doing until they saw all the things come out. And basically, that is now what I've patterned my life after. I've
You
become
pretty much are eating the
living
left side of
Earl.
the menu here. Yeah,
every
for sure.
day I eat the whole side of a menu at a given new restaurant, and then people stand up and applaud and say, "Standing O for the Mayo."
You're like Joey Chestnut. I mean,
that's
it's
a great
unbelievable.
And
Yeah,
then
Bonnie,
documentary.
Lady and the Tramp. That's actually a great scene
the
with the
slurp of
spaghetti.
spaghetti, that's
Everyone
a
did
very
that when they're
famous
young.
one.
You want to do it on
Yep.
your first date. Yeah,
I don't
that's a
know if
big
it's really a food scene, but of course, Caddyshack, where there was the scare in the pool, and it turned out that what they thought floating in the pool was not what they thought it was, but it was actually
geez, I don't know if
a
that's
Baby Ruth
that's a
bar.
stretch.
And Bill Murray goes in at the end after the whole pool was disinfected and clean. He picks up and goes,
He bites it.
Baby Ruth, and he eats it.
Yeah.
Speaking of that character, remember the name of the character?
I don't know.
We
young. I don't know
You
Caddyshack
mentioned it before.
I
Yeah.
mentioned
I
it
don't
the
know
other week.
Caddyshack
Well,
really
what's the
know.
secret word, by the way? in
Wait.
case
The
people
secret word is
don't know?
lunchbox.
Yeah, by the way, we are at.
I don't know
Wicked
if
Cheesesteaks.
he's giving them all away yet.
I don't think he's at 15 yet. If you come in and say
I don't think he's at
Lunchbox,
15.
If
We're
you come
here.
into Wicked Cheesesteaks today only and say the word lunchbox, you can get a free Mike Mayo sandwich, roast pork with
It's a
provolone
delicious sandwich.
and broccoli rabe. And if you're going to get the free sandwich, buy a soda.
They also
give 'em
happen to
a
have
couple
great
things.
selection of root beer. They
Yeah.
have ice cream and desserts, and they have great appetizers, pizza, and wings as well. So if you get the Mike Mayo sandwich for free, why not
Yeah,
try something
Throw
else?
a little
as well?
love, get a little something else that could boost the daily coffers
Exactly,
here.
try
at
In other
Wicked
words, buy
Cheesesteaks.
something, you cheapskate.
Next time we do these
Here I'm
deals,
trying to shave the
we'll put a
guy
couple
at
of-
May's Kitchen out of 50 cents.
yeah, you
Poor
You're
schleck.
calling them
Yeah.
exactly.
Trying to put 6
Hello,
kids through
Pot.
school.
It's
Yeah.
me.
Kettle.
Listen, you.
Can I
don't
get back
charge
to
me that.
Carl Speckler? Because remember, I was touting this horse that was going to run
yeah.
on the turf after I think he's a turf monster, and then he scratched out of the race in Keeneland.
Yeah.
Well, lo and behold, he is on the card on Kentucky
Oaks.
Derby Day. No,
Derby Day
on
event.
Saturday,
Race.
one of the
Always like those
undercard
undercard
races.
specials. Yeah.
It's a 3-year-old on the turf race, and he's in it. He's
What's the name of
with
his horse?
Carl
Spackler.
which
Spackler.
is
Bill
Bill
the
Murray's
name-
character
Bill
from
Murray's
Right.
from Caddyshack.
Caddyshack,
Murray.
yes.
The greenskeeper. It was named Carl Spackler.
Which took place
It's
down
a
here.
Chad Brown trained horse that is one of the races on the undercard on Saturday's race, and I'll go all in on him. And if he hits, then I'll have even more money to plunge on the Derby. If not, I'll go back to the ATM and
Well established that the mint julep is the worst drink ever conceived. Is
Absolutely.
that
Yeah.
universal?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we don't agree necessarily on Skyland chili, although I'm not as harsh a critic of the people who like it. If you like it, you like it. But the mint julep, I don't think anybody likes it, including the person who discovered.
I
first
don't know
discovered the
why
formula.
they've continued that tradition, but why ruin perfectly good bourbon by
Yes.
putting all that
And it's usually
crap
good
in
Mint
it?
julep.
bourbon.
Oh my
And
god, it's
it's
disgusting.
like the only drink I could imagine that was worse is like if you take Aquavelva and then put a little bit of dash of some bitters and vodka in there and maybe a sprig of mint.
And
That
you
would
drink it,
be
yeah.
the equivalent of what the mint julep
People
is.
used to do that when they were desperate for a drink. They would strain Aquavelva through bread. That was not an uncommon
How many
practice
times
when I
did
was
you do
growing
that?
up.
I was gonna say
I
don't
never
think
did, but
Defo
I know a
knows
guy that used to do it. He was a friend of my father's.
He knows a guy.
Yeah, exactly.
I was
Wink,
too
wink.
young to drink then, but I was wondering what this guy is doing with this shaving lotion. And he's straining it through a piece of Wonder Bread. And I'm
It's
thinking,
not nice to talk about your father that way.
It wasn't my father. This was his
I'm
friend.
kidding. I'm kidding.
Exactly.
Kidding.
my father frowned on the practice also.
Oh, good.
But,
Okay.
but he tolerated it because it was his good friend.
That was a low blow
Yeah.
by me. I shouldn't ever say any parent jokes.
The
I
great
know
Michael DeForest.
this guy was
I like Michael DeForest.
he won a contest with Julia Child with
Julia
his recipe.
Child,
I remember that.
He was a big fan. I mean, I don't know that many people watched cooking shows back then, but Julia Child, there weren't that many shows on TV, period. And she had a very popular show. He won a stove. It wasn't much of a stove either, and we never used it. It was in the garage.
Really?
But he sent in a recipe, finished second place. First place was like a trip to Tahiti, and the second place prize was this stove that we never used.
That he knew. If I won a stove from
Yeah,
Julia
but I
Child,
forget what the recipe was for. But I mean, it's not easy to impress Julia Child.
mint
you would
julep.
think.
Yeah,
It could have been. Could have
That's
been.
it. Hey, we got a playoff game coming up tonight.
We do. Your Panthers.
You know me. I don't like to get into the prognostication game, but we do it every game because that's what we do.
Yeah.
We analyze the games past and coming up tonight. Again, it's one of those things where the Panthers are going for their second straight win in their playoff series against the Toronto Maple Leafs, who haven't won a Stanley Cup since 1967. And the question is, yes, they're playing with house money. They got the first game road victory that every team wants in a playoff series, best of 7. The way this team is playing, I don't see why they can't continue and keep rolling off more, right?
You know what? The weird things happen, though, where just when you think a team is rolling or
It's
back on
hockey.
track, especially in the playoffs, they hit a brick wall. I'm hoping that they can win. I like the Chiefs tonight, if you want to know the truth.
The Leafs?
The Chiefs.
Who's the Chiefs?
No, they're not in the game. No.
I was like the
I'd be just as well serving of the people if I gave out the Chiefs. No,
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
why not go for 2 in a row?
Why not?
Who wants to
But
see this happen?
Did you hear what the Leafs are pulling?
Oh yeah, what are they doing now?
What
No,
are they-
they're
doing the
they're
opposite of the Panthers?
restricting the people to come into the arena, including people who go on the ice, that they have to be of Canadian birth. So Sergei
An
Bobrovsky
retaliation,
is
yeah.
going to be
Yeah,
shut
Bobrovsky
out
can't
of
play.
the barn tonight. I don't know. I guess that Lion guy is he Canadian or is he American?
Whose
I don't
idea
know.
was this with the Panthers to
I'm
not
sure it
allow
was his friend. I'm sure it was his
non-citizens,
favorite guy because
to
that's
come
where all
in?
the other
Is
crap
that your
starts.
boy, Doug Seafood?
I feel like
I
it's
don't
a
want to
seafood
cast any
move.
aspersions. And
Because
what
the
we're
last
talking
time
about,
you did, he got right after you.
I feel like it's a seafood.
what we're talking about is that the Panthers, in the half-assed way, have attempted to impose a U.S. only
a citizenship ban.
not citizenship, but it's
Residency.
residency. That you have to have a credit card. Like if you're buying a ticket to games 3 or 4 at the arena, that you have to basically use a credit card that has a U.S. address. And basically, they're trying to limit Canadians from coming into the building, which is absurd because
They're gonna
South
find a way.
Florida is the second home. It's the winter home of many Canadians.
We're Montreal South, man.
Yes.
You could have a home in Monte Carlo, in Paris, in Venice, and Hawaii, and you couldn't buy a ticket to this freaking game
Exactly.
if you didn't have a residency.
And it strikes
here.
me not just as antithetical to what America's all about. It's just like chicken shit. I'm sorry. It's you're that
It's
afraid
cowardice,
of
cowardice.
more people coming into the building cheering for the opponent. Well, then you know what? You got to get a better fan base. I mean,
Well,
like-
win. If you win, they'll come point blank.
Yeah.
It's the second round of the playoffs. There will be plenty of Panther fans there. It's a weird move to pull now.
It figures though that a Florida team would have a sidebar
stupid-ass
story
rule,
that just casts us in disgrace.
Yeah.
And that would have no impact whatsoever on who
alienates
shows up for this
immigrants.
game. Either.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know about all those South Floridians who live here who maybe
Yes.
are also from Colombia or Venezuela.
But
I
in the
guess they wouldn't
Broward
have-
area, there's a lot of people from South America and Central America and
that
Europe.
that still
that
have
are probably-
addresses in Brazil or might
they
have
may be
their
big Panther
address.
fans.
DeSantis has vowed that anybody who attempts to get a ticket that doesn't have a U.S. resident will be flown back to their home base destination, courtesy of the taxpayer, because they don't even want them in town for 5 minutes.
So anyway, we wish luck to the Panthers players tonight
stupid
because I
policy.
am rooting for them. But the front office, sometimes I have decidedly mixed
That's a
feelings.
very poor move.
I don't have mixed feelings about Vinny Viola's horses, though. I do like Forte in the Derby. He co-owns it. That's the Panthers owner. Co-owns the Kentucky Derby favorite Forte, the winner of the Florida Derby, and Mike Rapoli is the other co-owner, also a big major horse owner. And we'll see what happens. We're going to talk more about the Derby tomorrow and the Oaks. Tomorrow is Oaks
Yeah,
Day.
the
We'll
Oaks
be
is
at
so
it.
fun.
Well, was Rapoli, wasn't his thing vitamin water? Was that his
Yeah,
company?
I'm not sure how he made this.
Has that disappeared though altogether? What happened to it? Ever since he got like $8 billion for this company? I never see vitamin water anywhere. Do you?
Well, they sold it. Gatorade, I think, bought it.
Oh, is it one of the
Yeah.
big boys?
Yeah,
bought
But why
it?
wouldn't they keep
Because
the
remember,
brand
50
going?
Cent made a crap load of money off of it. And I think that's where, of all the stuff he's done,
I remember when they were handing
where
it
he made
out
his
at the
money.
tennis courts in the parking lot. They hadn't sold a single bottle of this stuff yet. And the next thing you know, the guy's selling a company for like $5 billion.
I actually like
That's great.
vitamin water.
Meanwhile, the nerve of King Charles to have his official coronation on the same day as the Kentucky Derby.
It's okay with me because I'd be paying just as little attention to it, whether the horse race is on or not.
and it's to me, I also have had mixed feelings about the Royals throughout my life. I spent a semester studying in London. I was immersed in that whole culture of the tabloids and how they followed the Royals every move. And they tormented them, but also profited off them. And the whole concept of royalty in this day and age, it's a little bit confounding, but people seem to love the whole pomp
pageantry.
and pageantry. And I just say that, basically this coronation this weekend, and he's already been king since his mom died.
Yeah.
But this just kind of is, again, the pomp and the pageantry. But
Yeah.
I just say it's the biggest celebration of inbreeding since the Alabama-Auburn game last fall. So, good on them. I guess they have become a little bit more diverse with the royal gene pool. Although when they try to get the diversity, what happens? They cast them aside
like
and
a
then
fight,
they,
yeah.
Get
they
outta
run
here.
away
Yeah,
back
yeah.
to America. or
You're
in
not
the case
welcome
of-
here. You're like a Toronto Maple Leaf fan at the,
So
at the
Florida
live
Arena.
arena there at
I
South
might
Florida.
tune in for a little bit. I'm a sucker for all the pageantry.
What are you
even
going to
though
see? I mean, what does this
I'm
guy
not
do?
gonna see
The
Kate,
royal
what kind of
family
dress
is like the
she's wearing.
Kardashians
I
are to
kinda
the
like
U.S.
kind of like that Kate
I mean,
Middleton.
they're more important than the Kardashians, but yes, that's sadly what the Kardashians
Why are they
have
more?
become.
They're not more important than anybody.
Than the
They're just-
Kardashians?
They're flesh and blood
But
people.
you ask yourself, what
They
did they
mean
do
more
to
than the
become this
Kardashians.
famous or in this position
They
of power?
won the
They did
sperm
nothing.
lottery.
Right.
That's
Born.
all. They just won the sperm
They're
lottery.
born.
They
Yeah, that
got
was it.
born into the manor born.
Yeah.
And as the kind of like some of our politicians in this country, they get born into the right family and they can find themselves president.
Write your
Like
ticket. Yep.
George W. Bush. I still remember that great line by a great writer, Molly Ivins, who said, "Poor George W., born on third base and thought he hit a triple."
That's
It's a good way of putting it. All right. What do we got to talk about? We got to talk about our friends at Tropical Acres
Yes,
today.
sir.
Now. Thursday coming into the weekend, and great
Mother's
place
Day
to go.
coming up too.
Mother's Day,
big.
and usually they're only open Monday through Saturday and take Sundays off as Family Day. But on Mother's Day, they will be open from 1 to 8 p.m. And it's a fine place to feed mom for her big day because they have done it before, over and over again for decades. So they operate like a well-oiled machine. And some places they get in the weeds on Mother's Day, but not Tropical Acres. They are used to cranking out the volume, and they do it well with their good quality, value, and selection. The steaks, the seafood, the great prime rib that they have going on all the holidays. It's 1 to 8 p.m. on Sunday, May 14th is Mother's Day. You want to get in there with a reservation, call 954-989-2500, 954-989-2500. Better yet, get the jump on Mother's Day and go in there this weekend, Friday or Saturday night. You can get the happy hour in the bar from 4:30 to 6:30 on Friday night. And again, where you get the half-price drinks and some of those great light bites. Oh, look at this.
Man,
Brian,
it's
because we didn't eat
overwhelming.
enough,
Yeah.
he is now hitting
Well, he
us up
saved us the Lubie,
with the,
which I don't know
this
where we
ice
would
cream,
have
a little bit
found
of
it.
the
is the real deal.
I don't know where
house-made
we found
ice
it.
cream.
Wow.
It looks good.
Oh, my
What
God.
flavor do we have
What
here,
is
Brian?
this?
I got to
I
try
want
it,
us
and then
to
we'll
taste
name
test.
that
Right.
flavor.
Name that.
let's
Oh,
just-
okay. I
we'll
see
get into the
marshmallows.
last
I'm just
break.
going to give that away.
Tropical Acres, you know it. It's at 2500 Griffin Road, just west of the airport, and I-95. The Studio Alley family have been taking great care of people like me for decades. Go there, tell them the Lunchbox sent you.
Great spot. All right, we'll come back and wrap up this edition of
Oh,
the
I taste
Lunchbox
caramel.
from Wicked Cheesesteaks, just south of Commercial Boulevard on the east side of Federal Highway.
Salted caramel.
I think we still have some room for some people to give the secret word here and cop a free
Yeah,
sandwich,
say
a
the
free
word
mayo sandwich.
lunchbox.
So just come in, say the word
Marshmallows.
Lunchbox, and you got a sandwich that normally sells for $12.99. It's absolutely on the house if you're among the first 15, which I think they're probably
I think we're almost
room
there.
for 5 or 6 more at the least. So check that out. We'll be back to finish things off here, including this ice cream in a moment.
Mayo here for Delaware Chicken Farm and Seafood Market. Since 1951, family owned for over 70 years, the home of freshness. I've been a customer for over 3 decades, and it's the place to go for poultry, steaks, meats, and of course, their unbelievable selection of fish and seafood. They've got it all. Key West pink shrimp, grouper, snapper, lobster, and of course, Florida stone crab claws of all sizes. Don't forget their famous fish dip and a full selection of prepared foods. It's located at 4191 North State Road 7 in Hollywood, just across from the Seminole Classic Casino. Owner Doug Carter and crew will take great care of you. Make sure to check out their weekly specials and daily catch online at DelawareChicken.com. Quality, value, freshness, that's the Delaware way. Tell them Mike Mayo and the Lunchbox sent you. Do you like pizza? Who doesn't like pizza? Well, my spot for pizza is the Pizza Spot. It's in that little bit hard to find Riverside Park neighborhood of Fort Lauderdale, but it's totally easy to love. It's at 601 Southwest 12th Avenue, New Haven style, a pizza from Wade and Reese. It's a lovely outdoor spot. You could also pick up pies to go at 754-779-7788, 754-779-7788. Again, they're open every day but Monday for lunch and dinner. Some of the best pizza I've ever had. Go to Pizza Spot. They also have subs, salads, and more. Tell them the Gambling Gourmet sent you. If you like seafood in a comfortable setting, outdoors, even keel fish shack at the corner of A1A and Commercial Boulevard in Lauderdale by the Sea, that's my spot. It's upscale food in a down-home setting. The chef owners, Dave and Brad, do a terrific job with all the seafood classics that you want. They have the best grilled oysters in town, bang bang shrimp, lobster rolls, and deli fish specials. They also have weekend brunch Saturday and Sunday. They have deli happy hour 4 to 7, and they also have other weekly specials like mussels on Monday and oysters on Tuesday. Go to Even Keel Fish Shack and tell them that the Lunchbox sent you.
Back on the Lunchbox, a remote at Wicked Cheesesteaks at 4826 in Fort Lauderdale. 46. I'm losing my mind. Sugar rush. 4826 North Federal Highway in Fort Lauderdale. Brian gave us the Dagwood sandwich.
Oh, they make their own ice cream now.
We had the macaroni and cheese with the lobster, and then this ice cream that they're making in house now. It's got like caramel and toasted marshmallows. What'd you think? What's your verdict on
delicious. You know what? I mentioned this on the show. Bonnie packed up some the ice cream. It was like a chocolate thing, very rich.
Nutella.
Last week, right? So I had a couple of things to do. It's in the car. Naturally, it melted down to just sauce basically.
Did you drink it?
No, I put it in the fridge, and and I figured, okay, this won't be any good. So a couple of days later, I'm having a craving for like a bite of something sweet. I realized I had this, and I take it out, and it was sensational. Even reconvened as ice cream,
which
is
soup,
amazing.
I did the same
freezes,
thing.
and
Yeah,
that's
it
a
was
sign of some well-made ice
Wow,
cream.
no, that
If
was
it doesn't
It
crystallize.
didn't do the weird. Yes, it was.
Sometimes the cheaper made ice cream with inferior products
It'll
will separate out, and you get those ice crystals in it when it refreezes.
Didn't
No,
do that.
not
I was
this time.
very happy to find it in my fridge, which
Very
I
good.
may do again with
If
this.
I was on one of these food shows, one of the judges, I would say the cream, the mouthfeel is wonderful on this.
Yes.
My only tip or suggestion would say it would be enhanced if you threw in a couple of pretzels and you get a little salty
Sweet.
crunch to go with those with the caramel and the toasted
Or
marshmallows.
a nut. You could do a nut.
You could do a nut.
Like a peanut
You
or
could
an
do
almond.
like an almond or a pecan. But I like the pretzel for some reason with caramel.
It's a nice crunch.
Good, it's a good combo. But as it is, if you got a sweet tooth,
it's actually really good.
It's pretty good. So
we got a guy
again,
chowing down on a Mayo
He's having
sandwich
your
here
Mayo.
today.
what's the verdict?
Yeah, what do you say? Good.
Very good.
Yeah, very good.
And this looks like a man who
All right.
knows a sandwich.
Very nice.
No pressure on him.
Yeah.
You could say if you don't like it. But
Well,
that's all
he's
good.
gonna
He
try
He
and
already
get a
put it on
freebie,
his
but I mean,
Instagram
how
and
world
everything.
renowned is this?
The Mayo is
The
sweeping.
Mayo is everywhere.
It's just
man.
flying off the
Sweeping
shelves
the
here.
South Florida
He
region.
probably has a couple left that you could, again, say the magic word Lunchbox, and you could get yourself a complimentary Mayo sandwich with the pork, broccoli rabe, and provolone. Again, he's only giving away 15 of them. I don't know what the tally is now. They're probably supplies are
I'm going to say
dwindling.
10. Yeah.
But if you get in here and it's already too late to get the free one, I say it's worth the money, but I'm
100%.
biased. It's my name on the damn
Oh, it's a
sandwich.
dang good sandwich.
I guess that's going to do it for today. I didn't get to explain my excursion up in Delaware after the show yesterday. After the podcast that I taped, I did a little bit of grazing and checked out a new Indian restaurant up there that opened up like 10 weeks ago. It's an offshoot of, there's like 5 of them around the state, including one in Pompano. Didn't love it.
Okay.
So I'm not going to name it.
Okay.
And all I know is all of a sudden my daughter has gotten into Indian food, and we are now on a quest of going around and getting different Indian food. Sometimes I take home the butter chicken. That's her baseline dish that she likes to check out. Butter chicken from this place last night, it wasn't butter chicken. It was like mixed with the lentils, with the dal makhni, and it wasn't those little cubes of white breast meat. It was like shredded dark meat, and it was like stringy, and it was weird. And all I know is this, Defo. You know what is not right now my number one Indian restaurant in South Florida that I've tasted, that I've been to in the last couple of years?
My man Shaker in Deccan Spice. Right down the
Spice.
street here. Yeah.
Pompano Beach. I went in there. I've been in there a couple of times, and last time with my daughter. She loved it. I loved it. Well appointed. We got to get in there to do a show.
Yes. We're going to get out
because
Shaker, if you're watching, we're coming.
I love Indian food. I love the aromas,
Break
the
out your
spices.
checkbook too. Yeah.
It's actually very healthy for you.
Give him a call. I don't need to
give him a call.
advertise.
We'll give him a
live
call.
on
We'll
air.
give
You
him a
know
shot.
me. I like spotlighting good places.
Yeah.
it's a good spot.
No.
Independent things that are not, maybe people don't know about. They would drive past it. It's in a, strip mall.
You wouldn't necessarily find this place and think, wow, there's some fine Indian dining in there.
Go in there. It's such a well-appointed room, and the menu is just really diverse. The types of different, regions of India represented.
It's
and
authentic Indian food.
It's authentic.
You can't get Chinese.
New York,
down here.
London
Yeah.
Indian food.
Right.
No, it's Mumbai Indian food. It's good Indian food, and
Nice.
it meets the Lunchbox seal of approval. And I like pushing places like that, such as Wicked Cheesesteaks.
Yep.
And Brian,
Wow, what a day we had here, man! Unbelievable.
yesterday
I
was
need
as
a
well.
cut man and a nap. That was quite
Everything was
the
great.
feast.
I didn't try the sandwich because it looked a bit much for me, but and its mac and cheese was fantastic. The ice cream definitely is. You wouldn't expect to find these kind of
No,
things.
that's my favorite.
Especially not with the name Wicked Cheesesteaks. You're thinking, okay, it's a cheesesteak place, and that's all they got.
He keeps creating and inventing and putting more things on the menu. And I'm like, Brian, you got enough? Stop already. He goes, no,
I'm not gonna stop.
He wants to just keep.
I like that though, that he does that.
Finding new things, playing around with new things, and finding new ways to make his guests and customers happy.
Yes.
Great lunch spot. And you see on the big board right behind me, they
Great
have
specials all week long.
the BOGO cheesesteaks every Wednesday.
You should go out with a bite of the sandwich. I mean, that's how you should finish.
I just
your show.
had a whole bunch of
Let's
ice
finish
cream.
this sandwich.
Do you want me to dip the sandwich in the ice
No,
cream?
no,
Is that
no,
the big
no,
finish you
no,
want?
no,
That's the
bite
big
of that
finish
other
you're going to
thing.
get. We're going to go crazy.
There it is,
Oh,
Mike Mayo,
you
ladies
go
and gentlemen,
snaddle.
and
Okay.
telling you to enjoy
Oh, God.
every sandwich. There you go. I did it for you.